Now, if we continue through, you can stop. This book is so good, you can literally just drop it open to any one of the Psalms with your eyes closed and put your finger down and start reading at random, and you're going to have a good experience. These are powerful words, powerful concepts everywhere you go. So you can kind of look at all of these headings, all of these Davidic Psalms, and we want to skip over to the beginning chapters in the early 20s. So Psalm 22 is probably so this is just my opinion. It is the most hauntingly beautiful and symbolic of all of the 150 Psalms. As far as you read this thing from verse 1 down to about 3/4 of the way through, and you're saying, wait a minute, this is like the story of Jesus' atonement, so clearly printed out on the page. Look how it begins, verse 1. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me, and from the words of my roaring? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. Notice Jesus in his deepest moment of need, his deepest agony on the cross of Calvary, when he knew that all of his apostles were going to forsake him. He knew that they were going to, be scattered and abandon him. So do any of you find it interesting that there in that moment, what does Jesus do? He quotes a psalm, Psalm 22. My God, my God. And by the way, we've just barely started. There's a lot more coming up. Look at verse 7. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, he trusted on the Lord, or that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. Verse 10. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. You'll notice later on, Jesus will reflect back on his infinite atonement by saying things like, I tread the winepress alone. There was none to help me. Notice verse 14. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I may tell all my bones, they look and stare upon me. They part my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. Now, we need to pause here, because what you have going on is you have these psalms being written centuries before Jesus is even going to be born. And so then we have these events on Calvary's Hill, all these 700 plus years later, and it causes people to wonder, so did the crucifixion events take place, and then the New Testament writers simply look back to the Psalms and say, well, let's force fit what they wrote and put it in here so that it looks like a messianic fulfillment of what's in Psalm 22? Or did the psalmist prophesy of exactly what would happen and put it into the hymn book, and they're just using the exact wording from the Psalm saying, see, it got fulfilled? I like that second option way better than the first one, because we do believe in prophecy and revelation. We do believe that God can inspire people hundreds, if not thousands of years before certain events as to what's going to happen, and so they can record these, and now we get their culmination or their fulfillment all those years later in the infinite atoning sacrifice.
And isn't it extraordinary that after laying out the most horrific sense of abandonment that Jesus felt, that all of us could feel, the message of the song goes on to say, and this is why I love verse 22, "But I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation, I'll praise thee. Yea, ye that fear the Lord, praise him. All ye the seed of Jacob, glorify him and fear him. All ye the seed of Israel. For he hath not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, neither hath he hid his face from him. But when he cried unto him, he heard." This was the promise of the song. And I don't have the energy to remind you of all of that, but isn't that the great thing you said at the beginning? The second you hear, raindrops keep falling on my head, you fill in the blanks. The minute you hear that, it's just so touching to me.
And look at verse 27, the promise here. "All the ends of the earth shall remember and turn unto the Lord, and all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee." Isn't that amazing? Jesus endures all of this intense suffering, and all of the nations are going to eventually get to hear that. And music, by the way, is a big part of this gospel message filling every corner of this earth as we take this message out.